No founding father exerts as much influence upon contemporary America as Thomas Jefferson. This is in large part due to the plethora of accomplishments that Jefferson achieved in his lifetime: author of the Declaration of Independence, minister to France, third president in which he made the Louisiana Purchase a fait accompli, and the founder of the University of Virginia. And just in generic categories, inventor, writer, philosopher, builder, and dreamer. It is perhaps in this regard that Jefferson has captured the American imagination so much. We Americans have always seen ourselves as pioneers of the future, the first people to create a federally republican government after a largely conservative revolution, which in fact succeeded, the home of so many inventors such as Fulton, Morse, and Edison, the nation who saved the world twice in 2 world wars, and the only nation to actually send men to an alien sphere in the sea of space. As such, Jefferson is particularly an American icon, as he himself said, quote, "I prefer the dreams of the future to the history of the past," unquote. In this collective admiration, Jefferson has become a stand-in for the country itself. As James Parton said in 1874, "If Jefferson was wrong, America is wrong. If America is right, Jefferson was right." The result which that sentiment has had is that different groups, all claiming to speak for America and to stand for the principles which America was always supposed to stand for, have appropriated Jefferson, turning him from a real historical man into a mascot. Proof of that is a recent book that actually chronicles this phenomena, Andrew Bernstein's Democracy's Muse: How Thomas Jefferson Became an FDR Liberal, a Reagan Republican, and a Tea Party fanatic, all while being dead. This has led contrarily to views which are the complete antithesis of American principles. Perhaps no greater example of this can be seen than the infamous wall of separation between church and state, which the Supreme Court in 1947 read into the First Amendment, claiming that the purpose of the amendment was not simply to prevent Congress from establishing a national church and thus protect religious freedom, but to remove all hints of religion out of the corridors of government completely. This, the court said, was what Jefferson and Madison had intended, citing as evidence the Virginia Bill of Religious Liberty, which was passed in 1785. However, as Daniel Dreisbach has shown, this is to take the Virginia Bill completely out of context. The famous bill, number 82, merely did away with compulsory church attendance and removed punishments from religious dissenters. Other religious bills which Jefferson composed, and which were all part of a set of which 82 was simply the first, made provisions for the upkeep of the clergy, punished breakers of the Sabbath, and took the Old Testament as its guide in deciding what marriages were lawful in the state. In more recent time, there have been those who have tried to tear Jefferson down from his perch as the preeminent founder. Pauline Maier, in American Scripture, attempted to show that Jefferson's place as the author of the Declaration is not as grandiose as was once thought. Joseph Ellis has tried in American Sphinx to dial Jefferson back, in order that other founders, such as John Adams, could at last be heard. And there has been the Sally Hemings controversy, which has attempted to show Jefferson in a decidedly unsaintly light. Perhaps the most unfortunate result of these attacks is that, far from getting to the real Thomas Jefferson, which so many historians salivate at the thought of, these endeavors have cast doubt as to our ability to know anything. For example, Annette Gordon Reed, in her book on Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings, has said that moral character is not an adequate historical tool for analysis, since it limits the subject to black and white. But no one explains why the division of black and white is incorrect, especially since the same people who claim this are generally the same people who say that Jefferson was extremely quote-unquote moral and quote-unquote white in the case of the faux wall of separation. Instead of freedom, we become lost in a quagmire, where all we have are possible Jeffersons and never the real thing. And when Jefferson is so intimately connected as a symbol of the country, this amorphousness can easily cross from Jefferson's altar into the nation itself. There is a fine line between history and what if. Historians work with facts, and there are multiple ways in which to interpret those facts. But this does not mean that all the interpretations are correct or equally true, as the principle of non-contradiction holds. And when we lose sight of the fact that there is a truth, as shrouded as it might be, we risk leaving the real behind us. And if we do not have any sense of the real, We can no longer dream of the future, and that would sorrow Jefferson, real and possible.